ni koko turarukomeje ntituteze kugamburura ariko twebwe bamumenye ntidufite gusubira inyuma.
Hello again. Today we're going to talk about the weather. People in the UK quite often talk about the weather, don't they? They're forever complaining about it. That's what we're known for in the UK, complaining about the weather. Either it's too hot, or it's raining all the time, it's too wet to put the washing out, there's ice on the car, or it's windy today. As I'm talking to you today, I can look outside my window here in the middle of February and it's actually just started to snow. You never get snow in Rwanda. In Rwanda, it's warm nearly all of the time. Do you remember me saying that Rwanda is in the middle of Africa? Well, Africa's known to be a really hot country. Here in the UK, we have 4 seasons, don't we? We have autumn and winter, spring and summer. And the weather's quite different in those 4 seasons. It can be really quite cold in the winter like it is today, and it can be quite warm in the summer. In the spring, it starts to get a little bit warmer. And in the autumn, it starts getting a little bit frosty in the evenings sometimes. In Rwanda, there are 2 main seasons. There's a wet season where it can rain really hard, and the wet season is between September and May, and it can pour down. It can rain so hard for a long period of time, and that's quite different to the rain we quite often get here in the UK, where it can just be a bit drizzly all day. But you know what it's like sometimes when it rains really hard and you get soaked out in the playground or perhaps out in the park with your friends. Well, that's what rain is like in Rwanda quite often. It rains really hard. And if you went, you would definitely need to take an umbrella with you. And then there's a dry season in Rwanda. That's between June and about August, and it can be really hot. And during the dry season, it never, ever rains. The average temperature in Rwanda is about 75 degrees. That's like quite a warm summer's day here. Mind you, it can be quite chilly even in the dry, hot season up in those mountains that we saw. Do you remember the Virunga Mountains, they're called? Some of them are, can you remember? Some of them are volcanoes. Have a look here at the picture of the Virunga Mountains. And on the tops of those mountains, there's mist. Remember that name we give to Rwanda sometimes, the country of 1,000 hills. Well, these are the hills we're talking about, and they sometimes are so high that they're poking up through the cloud, or the cloud comes so low down over them that they're covered in cloud. And at the top there's quite a few trees and forests, and sometimes the Rwandan people will call them the cloud forests. Imagine if you had to draw a cloud forest. I wonder what that would look like. Just close your eyes a minute. What would a cloud forest look like? Imagine what it's like at the top of those mountains. Now, the weather in Rwanda, you get so much sunshine and so much rain. That's really good for the plants to grow. If you've ever grown plants in your classroom or at home, you'll know that they need sunshine and rain. I wonder if any of you planted those sunflowers that we at the diocese were encouraging you to plant last summer. Well, you all know that plants need those 2 things to grow. And in Rwanda, the plants and the flowers can grow absolutely enormous. Have a look at these. These are the plants that I found around Lake Kivu, that huge lake in the middle of Rwanda. They are absolutely beautiful. Look at the colours. Look at the size of some of those leaves. Absolutely enormous. Like giant plants, aren't they? Very, very different to the plants that we have here. And that's thanks to the different Rwandan weather that we see throughout those 2 different seasons. Look at the rain here. I filmed this while I had to shelter in a cafe in the middle of Kigali. It was absolutely hammering it down. Have a look, you can see the car there and the rain splashing off it. when it rains in Rwanda, it really, really rains. If you've seen the lesson yet that I've recorded for you about the houses in Rwanda, well, if you haven't, or if you need reminding, the roofs out of the houses on the countryside, they're made out of tin, a kind of metal. And when it rains really hard in that wet season, the noise of the water on the tin roof is amazing. Have a listen to this. Imagine trying to sleep with that going on. What a noise! I wonder what your roof is made out of in your house. When you go home tonight, or if you're learning from home, just pop outside and have a look at the roof of your house. I don't think it'll be tin. Try and find out what that's made of and how different that is. And can you ever hear the rain on your roof? In the dry season in Rwanda, it can get really, really hot. Have a look again at these bricks, these clay bricks drying in the sun. Do you remember we talked about how the clay, they make clay from the earth and they put it in those little molds and they just bake it out in the sun like you're baking a cake, but not in an oven. This is out on the grass outside the homes, and they will bake the bricks to build their houses or their animal shelters. Imagine how hot it would have to be to bake the clay so it was hard enough to build a house.
ariko twebwe abamumenye ntidufite gusobanura